Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Michigan State Wealth Management Association podcast. This is Justin Halverson, current president of WMA and senior finance major at the Eli Broad College of Business. Today, I sat down with Julian Bell, a fellow senior finance major at Michigan State and author of The Grown Wave, a finance blog helping young adults simplify the financial responsibility of adulthood. It was a great conversation. Julian had a lot of insightful things to say about what us young adults can be doing coming out of college. So I hope you enjoy the conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MSU WMA podcast. We've got a very special episode today. We've got a fellow Spartan in our CFP program, Julian Bell. Julian, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Justin. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're really excited to talk to you. So we've been in a few classes together. Fortunately, we've worked together on the FPA case competition this year, which was really cool. But I wanted to start off today just for anybody who's not familiar. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose to come to East Lansing and become a Spartan?
Yep. So I'm Julian Bell. I grew up in the Southfield, Metro Detroit area, went to Birmingham Groves High School. I applied to like all the local schools, and Michigan State was my second choice. Didn't get into the other school, but I think that looking back on it, it was a great decision for me because Michigan State has helped me grow as a young man. And with wealth management, I feel like it was a career that I didn't really know about in high school. I knew of a financial advisor, but it didn't really cross my mind until I started getting into college, and I picked finance as my major because investments like the stock market interested me. So I kind of liked the path because of the ability to network with different people and build really valuable relationships with your clients and deal with their finances.
So I have a couple more follow-ups to that, if you don't mind. So how did you first hear about the program? I know I didn't know about it coming onto campus, but I heard Professor Shastel in a class. So do you mind telling everybody when you first heard about the CFP program?
Yep. I think I heard it from a couple people. So I have a mentor that was she's in the finance department, but she mentioned it to me. And then I also found it while I was looking for different wealth management topics on Google, and it popped up. I typed in wealth management MSU, and then the program popped up. So I was able to see like all the curriculum and then Professor Shastel. So then I reached out to him, and then he told me more about it, and it kind of went from there.
That's awesome. He does a great job motivating us, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think many students can speak to that. So do you mind, too, moving on a little bit here, do you mind telling us a little bit about, so what have you done in college? Have you have any internships or any like experience in student organizations? And like kind of a second part to that too is, what are your future plans? What have you learned from those experiences so far?
Yep, that's a great question. Starting off freshman year, I was involved in two programs. So Rising Black Men and Multicultural Business Students. So Multicultural Business Students was a business org, and they basically got Fortune 500 companies to come in and present on different topics that will help in terms of professional development. And then with Rising Black Men, it was an organization on MSU's campus of just Black men who want to come together and share common perspectives and just network on MSU's campus. And moving on in terms of internships, I wasn't able to get an internship freshman year, but sophomore year I was able to get an internship with Plant Moran, and they had a program called the Track Program, and it was a rotational internship where we got to see different aspects of Plant Moran, whether that was the accounting side, the consulting, and the wealth management. And during that internship, the wealth management rotation was the most interesting, and that's kind of sparked my interest again. And then that's how I found out about the program once I came back that fall back to school. And then from there, I was able to get another internship with Plant Moran as a financial advising intern. And that went well. Even though it was all virtual, I still felt that we were still able to get on client calls and interact with clients And then since it was like the middle of the year, we're still able to get on a decent amount of work. So it was a good experience. And moving on, next summer, I'll be full-time with Plant Moran as a financial advisor.
That's very cool. So it sounds like you've got your career path set up going into senior year, man. That's a good feeling.
Yep.
I know that's a good feeling. So you mentioned it a little bit, but is there anything specific besides landing a job? Of course, I know that's what we're all trying to do as seniors abroad, right? But is there anything, because it sounds like you've already accomplished that. Is there anything else you're looking to accomplish your last year here at MSU?
Yeah, definitely. I think that especially with the pandemic, it allowed me some time to self-reflect on things that, I wish I could do better, things that I want to improve upon. And it kind of gave us more time because, we're in our houses and we're not up and about and doing things and having as much distractions, I would say. So during my senior year, I just wanted to make sure that I was staying connected with people on campus. That's why, I've been more interactive with WMA and trying to make sure that I'm contributing to the organization and making sure I share my perspective and also willing to listen to other people's perspective in terms of the wealth management industry and the program here at Michigan State. And then also just making sure I build productive habits. Like I've started to read, so making sure I continue to read because that's a healthy habit and just different things like that. And with the blog as well. So I created the blog and making sure, I work on that and just productive habits that will help me grow as a person during senior year.
Talking about the blog there, Julian, I think that is very cool. It's the Grown Wave. Shout out to you. I just discovered it a couple weeks ago, man. There's so many insightful things on there. So before we get into that, I do want to ask you a quick question before we dive into all the details of the great blog. It's what are you reading right now? Because I know for me that was really important as a freshman. So what would you recommend these freshmen who are interested in financial planning and wealth management be reading right now? And not only freshmen, but any business student, really.
Yeah, I would say that you really can search it on Instagram. You have accounts that are dedicated just to books. You really have accounts dedicated to anything, but just search what you would like to read. Make sure it's something that you're interested in or you think you'll be interested in before reading it. Because at first, I know that in middle school and high school, they would give us books for summer reading and you would read half of it or not even read it, to be honest. But right now I'm reading The Intelligent Investor. It's the author is Benjamin Graham. It's a well-known book in the investing world. And then before that, I read The Broke Millennial by Aaron Lowry. It's a personal finance book. I think that's a great book for everybody because it's really basic in terms of understanding your personal finances and applying it to yourself and your personal financial situation. And then Shoe Dog, which is another book about the founder of Nike, Phil Knight, which is a great entrepreneurship book in terms of hearing what he had to go through to create this big business, which is Nike today, that everybody knows about.
I've never heard of Shoe Dog before, but that sounds very interesting. I've certainly heard the legend of Phil Knight. Those are so important. I've read The Intelligent Investor myself. It provided me so much value. And The Broke Millennial too. That's on my list. I've heard that's a great one as well. So you're talking about some great concepts for people of our generation, man. You're talking about finding things on Instagram. That's how I found out about your blog, quite frankly. I don't even, I couldn't tell you exactly, but I was just clicking through things here and there, and I was like, The Grown Wave, what is this? And boom, I saw your name on it, and I've, been hooked ever since. So, can you tell us a little bit about it, man? I saw that you offer some different topics and investing and budgeting tips, but what is it? What are you trying to accomplish with this blog?
Yep. So during the lockdown, I want to say like May to June, we're still pretty much locked down. You couldn't really go anywhere. So I was just trying to figure out what I could do to be productive. So I started reading. And then also for a while, I've been trying to find another hobby or habit that I could, work on that I could potentially monetize. So with my girlfriend, she had like a graphic design business. So she started that out and then she was slowly starting to make money from it. And I just wanted something that would help me. It didn't have to necessarily make money. So with me going into the wealth management industry and financial planning, I figured that I have a decent amount of knowledge right now compared to my counterparts, and it would help just to share my perspective and maybe get their, brain working in terms of thinking about personal finance. And I know that with the wealth management industry, it's a lot of probably older clientele, and you usually don't work with people with a low net worth. So I thought that if I share this information, it probably will help us because we're all coming into the age where we have more financial responsibility.
It is. That is so important. I think like the stigma is that young people don't need a financial advisor, or you can't like afford it. But I
Yeah.
mean the world's so complex. I mean, I know I have student loans, and
Yeah.
I actually worked in the financial aid office, but I still, I'm going to need some help with repayment and how that ties into my long-term plan. So, dude, you're so right. And there's a lot of opportunity there, I would think, for people who don't know. So kudos to you. Do you mind telling us a little bit? So what are the topics you like to cover there? What are you talking about in your different blog posts?
Yeah. So I have three sections that I kind of break my articles that I write about. So it's budgeting, investing, and then I have a section for I call other topics, which can cover like student loans or different things related to credit, or pretty much anything that doesn't fall into the budgeting or investing. So with budgeting, I just try to, with all the articles, I try to make sure I write it so that anybody can read it and understand it, because oftentimes like people will get turned off if things seem too complex. So that's a lot of, I think, the reason why people don't always talk about money, because you can talk about the stock market or real estate, and these concepts can kind of seem overwhelming to people. So trying to make sure that they can read it and understand it, and then be able to ask more questions about it and learn about it.
So what was more difficult, do you think? Was it more difficult to actually get going and write the different blog posts and actually get the content of it, or like getting it online and publishing it on Instagram, like for example?
I think the harder part is keeping it going, making sure that you write articles that, people want to read about and that interest them, because compared to starting it off, you just want to make sure that you get it started and you're kind of excited. But once that kind of wears off and you're just, writing articles or just making sure you're connecting on Instagram or whatever, it really becomes important to make sure you're, asking for feedback when you can. And if people give you comments, listening to that and making sure that you write information or articles that really help people and not losing sight of why you started it.
Wow, that's a great message. That's such a great message. So is that what you would like people to take away from your blog? Or it sounds like you're aiming at financial literacy. So what would you like people, yeah, to if they're reading your blog, what would your message, so to speak, be?
That money is an integral part in our society, whether we like it or not, and just to make sure that you inform yourself constantly about money and to constantly assess your relationship with money. And especially as us being young adults, depending on your situation, you may have had financial responsibility or not, but regardless, I think it's constantly growing at our age. And we're in like the time period, I say it in my blog, it's like a quote from a doctor. It says the time period or the decade from 18 to 28 is considered by many the most pivotal decade. And that's probably true in most scenarios. Everybody has their own things, but usually that's when you get a job or you start to create your own business and you start to make money for yourself and live independently. So it's really important that you understand money and how you can use it to afford the life that you want.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Great, great message, man. I can't think of a better way to put it. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I want to ask you last questions here, Julian. So first, I want to open the floor to you. Is there anything else you'd like to say to any students who are thinking about getting into this? And then, do you have any tips for anybody right now? So let's maybe focus on the people who are coming out of college. Is it, should they focus on opening a retirement account? Should they focus on budgeting? So, do you have any, open-ended question, but do you have any tips for all of us students who are going to be graduating here in the near future? What should we be doing to set ourselves up for success?
Yep, I think just the first thing that I would say is seeking the knowledge. That's the most important step. with us, we wanted to seek the knowledge, and that led us down this path of going to the CFP program and internshipping with Plant Moran. And just seeking the knowledge, I think, is the first step that will help you go and see the different opportunities or different resources that you can use. And I think in terms of us graduating, I think the most important step is being able to budget your money and having financial discipline in terms of spending. Down the line, I think everybody needs to invest or try to make the money work for themselves. But if they don't know how to properly budget their money in terms of spending and saving, then they're not going to be able to have the money to invest and do these different type of things to make money work for you. So that would probably be my advice, is to sum it up. First, seek the information, and then make sure that when you graduate, you're trying to build strong habits of budgeting. And
yeah, don't put the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. So, Julian Bell, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me on.
Hello, everyone. This is Vincent Pacillo, producer of the MSU WMA podcast, where we are inspiring and educating the next generation of financial planners. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please check out our channel on all platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and check out our social media at MSU WMA and MSUWMA.com.